Let's try that again. How you doing, everybody? DommyGun Rici, back at it. Major League Baseball, 2024. I waited 2 weeks before I got started again. I tell you, it's been a little up and down for me personally with the betting, but I've been betting very light, very small units, just trying to get my feet wet again. Every year in the baseball season is different, and we're just trying to get. I like to get some data behind me before I start coming on the air, but I figured, well, it's time to start coming on. I would have liked to wait a little bit longer, but listen, I've been getting asked about when we're going to start up again, and rightfully so. We had a good year last year on Light It Up. We had a good year last year overall at Who Bangin' Sports Talk. With the fellas, DJ Big Boss and company, and we're back at it again. Like I said, you know me, I love my Major League Baseball. I was on a roll last year. I was up to about 45 units with 2 weeks left to go. I thought about pulling out, keeping it that way. 45 was my high mark. The year before that, I hit 40 units. The year before that, I was in the low 30s. I had a losing year in the COVID year. But overall, over the last, say, 5 years, I've had some good years in Major League Baseball. I attribute that to, first of all, to getting serious about betting Major League Baseball, about getting serious about gambling. That when I transitioned from it being just, a thing to do, something to have fun with, watch the game, go into the game, putting bets in like that. Until about 5, 6 years ago, like most of you know, when we seemed to get lucky organically, we all started joining together. Um, as we started calling ourselves the low beggars, as much as you know, and as we started capping every day, thanks to the likes of Jimmy the Bag and Peter Loshak, who I'm sure you guys know, who are both over at Pub Sports Radio. And that's how we all got started. For you, those of you who don't know, we're going to put together something about the low baggers. We're going to put something together about the betting crews, because I think being together with other guys, like-minded guys that are into the same things you are, talking about gambling, talking about betting, I think that works. And it worked for me for sure, so I think it would work for you too. You get, when you keep out something every day, when you get serious about things, when you put the work in, the results should come. But it's all about discipline, and I talk about it all the time. For me, when it comes to sports gambling, discipline is first. And listen, baseball's a long season. You don't have to get it all at once. You could start small. You could start even with small units. Even if you're, say, a $200 bettor, you could start with $50. If you're a $100 bettor, you could start with $25. Even if you're, a $25 bettor, you could start with $10, $15. There's no shame in amounts of money you bet. The goal is to win units, and the goal for me, like I started off at a low increment where I didn't put a bet in over $20 with the first year that I started taking this serious and started betting every day. And then little by little I've been increasing, little by little increasing the units, and that's the way for me to do it. And like I said, I've been putting things together to try to help some people out on how to get started. I've been asked a lot of questions about that. I've been working on something for a little bit too long. I've scrapped it and redone it a few times. But it's all about how to sports bet. You see a lot of these books, and a lot of these guys talk about different ways to sports bet, different theories and stuff. But they always talk about the general. They never want to tell you what they did. I guess they're afraid, like, if their system gets out, that it's going to it's so good. They think they're so great at what they do that it's going to affect lines. It's going to affect sports books. Too many people are going to be using it. I think that's just all a bunch of nonsense. If you were that good, you probably wouldn't even be doing anything like lessons or anything on YouTube, right? If a lot of times you can see a lot of guys talk the game, man, but they don't walk the game, and that's the difference. And that's really the difference with us here at Who Bangin'. We don't put out plays that we don't bet. We don't try to, tell you about different things that if we're not doing it. I don't believe in a lot of these shows that start that have these have all their plays out the night before with the fact of like I don't want to name the different shows because they are decent. Some of them are decent, but one show says they've always got stale lines. Basically, they're always putting out stale lines the next day, and then the excuse is when the chat hits them up about that, the excuse is usually, well, we had to get the lines in for the graphics and this that and the other thing. You know what? That's not what we're about here. I'm not about the fancy graphics. I'm not about just putting out content. I'm not a contact creator first. I'm a gambler first. So and mostly a baseball better first. So that's where I'm at. So I'll start rambling about that. It's a tough card today. A couple games that I like. Some were rained out from yesterday. I didn't know what to do with them again today. You know. A couple as far as like the Mets today. I don't know if the game is even going to be played. It's been raining since last night. It stopped raining now, but the forecast does not look good for that Mets Royals game tonight, which is a pretty interesting game. The way the Mets have been hitting lately. So I'm no more surprised than me. What they did in Atlanta was pretty impressive. Now, tonight they're facing a lot better pitchers than they faced yesterday. I mean, the kid that pitched for Atlanta, you got to give him a break. It was his first time pitching. And then the pen just blew up. It got so bad for the Braves game last night. They brought in Luis Guillermo, the ex-Met infielder. They brought him in to pitch. And unfortunately, he gave up a grand slam home run. But yeah, the Mets have been hitting the ball lately. And like I said, it's an interesting matchup against the Royals tonight. I really, I lean to the over. I didn't put a bet in yet. Severino is a tough guy to figure out. He's had a rough start. He's pitched some quality innings, but on the back end overall, he has not pitched well. He's letting up a little bit too many long balls. The Royals, their starting pitchers, the best in the league. They're just unbelievable, and they're off such a great win yesterday against the Astros, where they opened up 9-0 in the first inning. So, and they got some good pitchers on that staff in the Royals. So they're a team to look out for. They're a team that I'm following this year. But like I said, my Mets are starting to hit the ball, but that's a tough matchup tonight. I didn't know what to do with it, so to tell you the truth, I only have 2 bets for you. We're not going to make this a long show. We're just going to get our feet wet today. And Sunday morning we'll be back, me and DJ Big Boss, and we'll do some capping as the game. We'll cap live on the air. We like doing that, especially on a Sunday. We'll pick a couple games, go over everything, cap it and then make some picks live. And anybody that wants to join us can do that. So we'll do that Sunday morning, probably at 10 a.m. Also, let's get to the games. Thanks for joining Guillermo in the house. Justin you got to tell me how to pronounce your last name the right way, but I say McKeevy. What's an old Italian boy know about how to say those Irish names? Wine Time Sports in the house. But Justin has K Tucker over 1.5 bases plus 116. I like that look. That's a nice look in that game. The games I tackled today. The first game I tackled was the Marlins and the Braves. I'll tell you. The Braves, I know we're all wondering what's going on with the Braves. Their pitching hasn't been up to par, but they still hit the ball. They still crushed in. McKelvey, gotcha. I won't make that mistake again. McKelvey, gotcha. Okay, Justin. We got to get you on there one of these times. Justin's always joining us and supporting the Who Banging, like everybody that's in the chat right now. Real Deal Prime in the house. What's up, buddy? So like I was saying before about Major League Baseball, we got a long year together. So we will be doing it every Friday morning, and we're going to try to do Sundays also. Last year I did Saturdays. Saturday's such a tough game, such a tough schedule on Saturday. There's a million games. You know how the weekends are. They're just tough in general. So we figured we'd do Friday instead of Saturday. I also did Thursday last year, but a lot of these games on Thursday are short, 7 games, 6 games, so I think we do that. Yeah, Justin, tell me about it. My last name really isn't Rici. It's shortened for Riccioppi, and if I spell it, people have no idea. Ricioppi. I've been getting that name butchered my whole life, especially in grammar school and stuff like that, so I get it, brother. I get it. Okay, Marlins at Braves. like I talked about, the Braves have not been pitching that great. Their pen has not been pitching that great. They've been they've been I guess maybe it's a slow start, and like a lot of these, like the Diamondbacks have a slow start. All these teams that seem to be firing at the end of the year, a lot of them have slow starts. Look what the Astros are doing right now, right? Except for the Yankees. The Yankees have been rocking and rolling, but the Yankees weren't in the playoff race last year. Those teams that were in that playoff race, a lot of them started out slow this year. But I think the Braves are going to have to bounce back today. They're pitching against Trevor Rogers. Rogers isn't such a bad pitcher. I know Trevor. I know his game I've watched him for a long time, but he has never had success against the Braves. 0-5 in his career out of 7 starts, a 6.3 ERA. He's out of 7 games, he has 35 Ks. That's a career thing against him. And Fried against him. Now, Fried, another guy we know, has not started off well. He had a problem with his first start against. Let me see. I forgot who his first start was against, but we know Fried has not had success. He has like a crazy ERA. But I think he bounced back. Max Fried is not a guy who is going to go on through the year, not pitching well. He's starting out slow. I think today really he helps out. I think he helps his team out I think the Marlins can get a couple of runs off of him, but I think the Braves are a little bit embarrassed maybe on how they played against the Mets. I mean, even in a loss, the Mets scored 7 runs on Wednesday. They had a rainout on Thursday. They won 2 out of 3. The Mets have won 5 out of 7 or 5 out of 6. So the Braves have not played up to potential, and they were home in this game. So what I did with this game is I took the Braves -1.5 at -108. And then I took the team total over 4.5 -136. Now, usually with team totals, I do not go up that high. I usually like to keep it at -120, -125 and under. But I just think today they just crushed this team. I think I think the Marlins might help out too with a couple of runs. So I did take the over 8.5 also. So I took -1.5 for the Braves, -108, and I took over 8.5 for the full game. Braves are now 7-2-1 to the over. They're scoring 11.2 runs per game. Their games are creating 11.2 runs per game. They're scoring 6.9 runs per game. Like I said, Fried has not pitched well, but against the Marlins, he is 3-0 in his last 5 starts. He has 23 Ks in those 5 starts with a 2.86 ERA. I think he gets a little bit healthy today. The Marlins 0-7 at home, 2-11 to start the year. They seem to be hitting the ball a little bit better. The Marlins have some injuries. They got their pitching staff is pretty much half of what it should be with the injuries that they got. So I did it that way. Oh, and another quick thing is that with the Braves, they've been hitting the lefties, but they not like they're crushing righties. So like I said, I do think Marlins get a couple of hits off of them, but I think the Braves roll. If you notice these Braves in the early, the reason why I didn't take the first 5, early they've been, not scoring that much. In the late innings, they've been crushing the ball. So let's take a shot with that. The second game I am on is this Pittsburgh-Philadelphia game. A game that now, this game is a little bit tricky too because I'm not sure about the weather. I'm not sure if it's going to be. I'm not sure if the game is going to be played. I'm trying to look now at the weather here. But they do have wind blowing out. I do like the over 9. I think Pittsburgh, we know Pittsburgh has been hitting well this year. We know that Pittsburgh started off, actually not started off. Last year, they ended the year pretty good. They were that team that was kind of like a spoiler team. They came on strong. Towards the end of the year, they played a pretty good spoiler game at the end of the year. I do like the way they are hitting. And let me see if I can find this right here. First of all, Bailey Falter. He had a pretty good outing last game. The game before that, his first start, it was not good. I believe that he kind of reverts back to his old ways. Bailey Falter is not a guy who that we've backed over the years. Bailey Falter is a guy who we don't, we think is going to be back to his old self. He did have a 6 inning. He pitched decent in his last 6 innings versus Baltimore. That was the game I wanted to talk about. He only had one strikeout, but his numbers were pretty good if you look at his numbers. But if you look deep into the game, Baltimore. I watched some of that game. Baltimore was hitting the ball hard. They had some deep, long flyouts. They had some deep, hard hit balls that were made. Great plays were made on by the Pirates outfielders. So they got robbed a little bit. Baltimore maybe in that game. Pirates might have got a little bit lucky. Falters, like I said, his numbers look good, but if you look deep into his pitching, it wasn't really that great. His first outing was against the Marlins. 2 homers, 6 earned. He walked a bunch of guys, and I kind of think he reverts back to that way. Philly's a tough team. Philly's bats are heating up. Sanchez had 3 earned runs against the Nationals at the Nationals his last start. Then he only had 2 earned runs against Cincinnati. So he's pitched okay, but the Pirates they hit lefties. They rake against. I said reek, right? they rake against lefties. The Pirates. They have a 13.3% walk rate versus lefties so far this year. Now, of course, it's a small sample size, but they're not walking, and so they're putting the ball in play. They're not striking out a lot. They're number 2 in OPS versus lefties. They're number 7 in ISO versus lefties. Guys that watched me last year know that I'm pretty big on the ISO and OPS numbers. I like looking at the team numbers, more than individual. I'm not a prop guy. I leave that up to you guys. But I like the over 9. I see Justin's on the over 9 also. That makes me feel a little better. So that's what I took. I took the over 9 in that game. And those are the only 3 bets I have right now. I'm going to come back out with a couple of recorded videos later once I got to look at it a little bit more into a couple of games that I'm interested in. First of all, we can talk about a couple of them before we go. Like I said, I'm not going to stay on too long today. Just get my feet wet. I'm a little antsy. Hard doing that first show. So sorry for the mistakes and stuff, but like I said, it's a long season, and we'll be here every Friday. So another game that I liked that I wanted to play yesterday was the Detroit Tiger game. Screwball pitching, the screwy Screwball against Lopez and the Twins. Now, I have a theory about Screwball, and I've been waiting to for him to pitch against a good hitting team, because I believe that Screwball's a pitcher that we've been following for the last 2 years probably. A lot of us liked him. A lot of us played against him. A lot of us thought he was going to be get better and better as time went on. Last year he had a pretty decent year, and he's projected to have a very good year this year. But if you look at Screwball's career, if you look at his record, look at the teams that he beat. Most of the teams he has beat have been low-level teams, non-winning record teams. He's pitched a lot against in his division. That division is terrible. This year, I know we're playing less in divisions this year, but the last 2 years, not. He's had a lot. He has a lot of wins against the White Sox of the league, of the Oakland Athletics of the league. If you look back into Screwball's career, you'll see what I mean about the teams he's faced. And I think he's getting maybe a little bit too much love this year. His last outing, he got hard hit last outing. He got the win, but he got hard hit in that game. And I believe that might have been against Oakland, if my memory serves me right, which it usually doesn't. But his numbers are right there. I was going to bet the under yesterday in the Detroit Minnesota game. Then it got rained out. I don't know if I should go back with that under. It's at 7 now. So, that's the game that has me confused. That's the game I kind of left alone because of the rain out last yesterday. Faux Patashi in the house. Is my man. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. We're back in baseball again. Thank you, brother, for coming on. Glad you found us. So that's my theory on the Minnesota-Detroit game. I don't know if anybody has any. Justin, did you have any thoughts on that game and Lopez and Schoolball? I tell you, keep an eye on Schoolball. We could get a good number against him with a decent hitting team. A team that hits lefties pretty good, like the Pirates, let's say, if they verse Schoolball, we could, we might get because of his record and because of the way he's being touted this year, we might get some good numbers going against him in the future. But I don't think this is the game to go against him. The Twins are not hitting the ball. Pablo Lopez, it's okay. He's so far 1-1 for this year, 2.84 ERA, but 0.97 WHIP, and Scooby has the 0.73 WHIP, which is very, very impressive. Both have 12 innings pitched. Both have WHIPs under 0.87 for Lopez, 0.73 for Schoolball. Schoolball does have 15 Ks, 2 home runs, and Lopez 9 Ks to 1 home run. So the pitching is there. The 7 is a lean, but it's just such a tough number to bet under 7. I mean, everything has to go right for you to bet that number. So it's a lean, but because of yesterday, here's another game that I got a little bit. Good morning, Mr. Good. How you doing, brother? Top of the morning to you too, man. Thanks for showing up. This game against the Yankees against Cleveland, Carlos Carrasco actually had pitched a pretty decent game. Again, if you look at this is why you got to watch games sometimes or really delve deep into numbers. Carlos got the win, but he only pitched like 3 innings that last game. I know Carlos Carrasco from last year being a Met and not pitching well, but Carlos Carrasco is a guy that I always liked. He came from the American League, went from Cleveland back to the Mets last year, but he had in between what happened to him. He had that cancer scare. He had the cancer. It seems like he beat it. He went through a lot. He was off for a while. I expected last year not to be the greatest year for him. Maybe between that and then the rest of the off season, maybe he's coming back a little bit stronger. I'll tell you one thing about Carlos Carrasco. And it's something that really jives with the Mets also. I'm not a nerfy guy. I'm not a yes first inning guy. I just think that no matter what, they're coin flip bets, no matter what. But be that as it may, there's still bets that could win, right? And the coin could be on the right side of the flip. Carrasco gives up a lot of first inning runs. As in Met games, whether they score or the other team score, the Mets are a good team to watch out in the first inning for those runs first inning. Like I said, either they let it up or they so a little off track, but keep your eye on that. And the reason why I went off track with that was because of Carlos Carrasco. He's a guy who does give up some runs early. The Yankees are in a team that you want to give up runs early to. Schmidt's not my favorite pitcher for the Yankees. But the Yankees on the road already in the short span this year are playing decent on the road, away from Yankee Stadium, away from the noise, and I expect the Yankees to probably get to Carrasco today. But I wouldn't be surprised if that under hit also. So that's another game I was just very. It's very to see. It's just something I'm thinking about. That's why I said I got to do some more capping. I'll probably come back with a couple short video plays, which I'm going to try to put out at least a couple of weeks now that we're started. So, Julian, thank you, brother. Great to see you, too. And yeah, you know why I come on at 10 o'clock? I do it because of my friend Jimmy the Bag is on at 11. And even though I've been out of the loop lately. I took a nice long break, really, off the social media. Towards the end of football, I didn't really do much since last year in baseball. I didn't do much hockey this year. I needed a break. A lot of things going on and stuff. So, but I still would never go against other friends of mine that are doing shows, and Jimmy the Bag is one of them. So that's why I like to do the show before he starts and make sure I'm always off by 11 when they start. If you guys don't know, Jimmy the Bag on Pub Sports Radio, you'll get every game that's going to be on today. You'll get a little insight on every hockey game, every basketball game, every baseball game. The man's been doing it for 6 years, 7. It's almost now. in October it's going to be starting. I think our 7th year that we started doing this. So yeah, that's the reason why I like doing it early. But listen, we need to get the games in early. But again, like I talked at the beginning of the show, Julian, that I didn't like. I'm not going to put out games and talk and put out bets that I don't bet. Number one. And I don't want to give early lines and say, oh, well, I got that line last night at minus 104, and now it's minus 115. And, like some of these other shows talk about, oh, we have to give the lines early so the editors have enough time, the producers have enough time for graphics, this, that, and the other thing. That's not our game here at Who Bangin' Sports. Not yet, anyhow. It's not ever going to be my game. I like betting the games and the lines and talking about the games that, I mean, obviously there's going to be line changes, but I'm not a guy who bets early at night. I'm not a guy who bets at 2 in the morning. I'm not a guy that really believes 100% in that first opening line being the best line. I just don't. The way I cap maybe is because of it, but the way I cap is I need to line movement and what's going on early with the lines means a lot to me. I put a lot of my bets in. I'm on the East Coast on Long Island, New York. I put a lot of my bets in between 7 and 8 a.m. in the morning, and that's really, that's where it's at. So, what are you gonna, Justin? You're gonna see Julian in 26 minutes. Where with the you'll see him then, and where's that at? On Jimmy's show on Pub Sports. I got to stop in today. It's been a while since I've been there. Got to stop in and say hello if that's what you guys were talking about. Yeah, you like the Yankees, the Phillies, the A's, but you're still looking. Yeah, if you missed it, I'm on the Phillies over 9 in that game, and I took the over in the Braves game, and I took the Braves run line. Another bet that I don't like taking off, and another, especially a road team, but I just have a feeling that the Braves are gonna. I find it hard for me to lose both ends of that bet, to be honest with you, the over and the team total. I find that I mean, not the team total. The team total, that's right. The team total was minus 136. It was a little high. I didn't take it, but the over 8.5 and the minus 1.5. I did take, but hell, I would not talk you out of taking that run line either, which I might add. So, next game I just wanted to mention is there's a couple of games. This game that now, again, I think it might be rained out. All right, first let's go to Cincinnati White Sox. I love Abbott. Abbott's one of my favorite pitchers. I think he pitches well. Chicago White Sox against lefties, they're hitting like under 3 runs per game against lefties. I've actually, for the first time, played a couple team total unders with the White Sox and hit. That's a bet I've hardly ever taken. But that, I think, Cincinnati's going to roll today with Abbott on the mound. He did get he is 0-1, but he does have a 1.35 whip. He 10 innings. He gave up 8 Ks, 1 home run in 10 innings. Little by little, Abbott's going to get better and better. Abbott's a guy who I think you keep your eye on. We know about Chris Flex, and that's where he belongs on the White Sox. The other 2 games that are on are later. Wicks against Miller, the Cubs against Seattle. And then the late night game is the Nats against Oakland. Irwin against Blackburn. Interesting game. I don't blame you for why you mentioned the A's, Julian. Blackburn's a good pitcher, man. I mean, can you see? He's 1-0. He's not let up an earned run yet. His whip is 0.54. He pitched 13 innings so far. 7 Ks, no home runs. The guy's been pitching well. Too bad he's stuck on the Oakland A's, right? The Oakland A's, who are that little bit of another team. They're always that little spoiler team at the end of the year. They start getting hot in September. They start, they do like a win like 10 out of 15, 10 out of 16 games and stuff like that. They're a team that's just so tricky. And, who knows what to make of them now with them switching around. They're playing in Oakland this year. Now they might go play in Sacramento for the next couple of years. Then are they still going to build this stadium in Vegas? They said they were. Then there was talk that maybe they weren't. Now there's talk again that there is. So who knows what's going on with that Oakland A's. But Paul Blackburn is a good pitcher, a guy to follow. I don't really have much to say on that game. I mean, Cole Irwin has not pitched well. 5.73 ERA. We get a decent price on Oakland. That might be a play today on them. Let's see what the current line is for them. Boom, boom. That's how you know I do this stuff on the fly, right? Tell you the truth, I want to go to that Met game tonight, but like I said, because of the rain. But tomorrow, there might be a doubleheader actually tomorrow, so I might catch one of those games. I'll tell you, I mean, Michael Walker's pitching for the for Kansas City tonight, so that's a little bit of him against Severino, two old school pitchers playing against each other. But can you believe that what the Royals are doing in that pitching staff? It's just unbelievable, unbelievable. Back to the A's. I got the A's minus 132 opening up at minus 122. So the money is coming into Oakland. So interesting game. Another game that I'm gonna be looking into is my boy Steven Matz, a guy I always liked, a guy who's not pitched up to his potential. He showed some flashes and then he kind of regressed. Now he looks a little bit better. Steven Matz is a Long Island guy like Stroman is. He's a guy that I see both of them in high school. I've talked about it before. And as guys, I followed their career a little bit. I thought that Steven Matz, when he was a Met, and Stroman, it was just almost like they were just too excited. It was just not the right fit for them. They were always seemed to me too amped up when they pitched for their home team, Mets, when they were both on it. Now, Stroman's a Yankee. Honestly, I think Stroman was going to fire right off the cuff at the Yankees, and he has. He surprised me. I had him wrong. I didn't think he was going to really be a fit for the Yankees. But I guess with those bats, it's kind of, that's one way to look at it. And he's been pitching great. I can't take nothing away from Stroman. I had that wrong. We'll see how it goes during the year. But so far, he's off to a good start, Stroman. But getting back to Steven Matz, I have a feeling that he comes back a little bit. He's pitched against Brandon Pfaadt, a good pitcher for the Diamondbacks, but the Diamondbacks are not the same Diamondbacks as they ended last year, obviously, and that's probably something that we shouldn't be surprised about. But St. Louis, the total is 9.5. I think that's kind of high. I know Arizona sometimes, those games are high scoring, but I think Matt's pitch is pretty decent. I like Brandon Pfaadt. I think he's good. I think the first 5 under might be a play at 4.5. The full game is at 9.5. I also think that might be a little bit too high. So this is another lean that I'm going to delve into. But that's just touching some of the games, just to get our feet wet. Talking a little bit about baseball early, but that's really all I have for you today. I got the 3 plays that I talked about, and something I did as we were talking. I added the Braves. So I got 3 bets on this Braves game, which is a rare thing that I do, but I put 3 bets in. I took the 1.5 minus 108. I took the over 8.5 minus 115, and I just took the team total over 4.5 minus 136. I think I might have said it backwards before, but I did take all 3 teams. So I took those 3 games, and I took the over in the Philly game. So that's the 4th bet. And those are the 4 I took today. So we'll see what happens. We're going to come back on Sunday with DJ Big Boss. I'll be back next Friday. I'll be more concise, more organized, I should say. And we'll be back again, like I said, on Friday. So Who Bangin' Sports Talk was doing the live sweat still on Tuesday nights. I'll be joining the guys now that baseball season has started. I'll try to join them as many Tuesday nights as I can. They do the live sweat. They've been doing a great job all year long. We have UFC now at Who Bangin' Sports. We got some good guys doing the UFC, Dylan and the boys. So keep your eye out for that. Everybody, give yourself a like and subscribe to Who Bangin' Sports Talk. Check me out on Twitter at Dom541. My boy in the house. This is my brother right here. For those of you who don't know, Ski Prophet. That's my guy. Hopefully he'll be doing some baseball. I'll be joining Ski then when he does his baseball like he did last year. I've been looking forward to that. I'll be getting out to see you soon, Ski. I miss you, brother. I miss you. It's been a while since we had one of our legendary sessions, if you know what I mean. But thanks for joining in, Ski. But anyhow, let me get out of here. Jimmy the Bag is coming up, like I told you guys. I'll stop in the chat to say hello. Hope you guys have a profitable Friday. Weird day, weird schedule. Like I said, some of these pitchers weren't even listed yesterday. Another game like I liked just quickly was the Giants. But I didn't know who they were pitching against the Rays. And now the pitcher just popped up. I do kind of like the Giants a little bit in that game. Giants away have been hitting the ball. They've been scoring a lot of runs on the road. Tricky team, tricky game. But again, a reason why this card was a little bit tough for me. But be that as it may, let me get out of here. This is DommyGun Rici for Who Bangin' Sports Talk. This is Light It Up. I will be back on Sunday. Thank you guys for joining in.